Well, the Blazers are on the news for two different reasons. Yesterday, Duop Reith is officially out for the season. He had surgery. Had a stress fracture in his right foot, if I could talk. Has not played since the 18th. This was a difficult one anyways because you were got to have a roster crunch numbers-wise in terms of what are you going to do with players once certain guys come back, and that's not an easy thing to figure out as an organization. So he is officially out for the year, and one of your big guys who has not played again in about 12 days will be out of services for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, look, it doesn't really hurt him too much from a depth standpoint. They've been playing Younger more anyway. Rob Williams has been good when he's played, and Klingen's having a nice season for himself. So I'm more just sad for Wap. He seems like a good dude, man. He just seems like generally somebody that loves to play both in the G League, in the NBA. Just he likes and enjoys that he's a professional basketball player as a job.
I mean, it's a remarkable story, right?
It
a guy
is.
from where he's from to kind of carve your way into the NBA and hang around for a couple of years. Who knows what the future holds with him with the organization? He won't be a part of it the rest of the year. The bigger news yesterday, and I'm wondering what this does for our excitement meter, or how long do we think this runway is still going to be? They're back in action, by the way, tonight against the Knicks. So we'll talk about that at the end of the show.
That's Joe Fortenbaum's favorite bet of the day.
The Blazers against the Knicks or the Knicks against the Blazers?
Knicks -7.
-7 tonight, huh? Mm-hmm. Well, Scoot Henderson, according to Sean Highkin, has returned to contact drills. He's been cleared for contact drills, and he is getting closer to the end of his recovery from the hamstring injury. So, again, to the point that I just brought up on Reith and having to make these roster calls, Scoot's going to be back at some point. It's taken longer than anybody imagined when the injury was initially announced.
Dude, it's going to be February this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, the conversations we were having when this was announced was like, Thanksgiving, Christmas. And it's like, are we sure he's going to be back this year? And now, to your point, we're heading into February this weekend. The month is almost over. And so does this mean another week? Does it mean another 2 weeks? Who the hell knows? But the fact that he's cleared for contact drills, our very own Blazer insider, Jason Swigard, saw him sprinting at the Child Center the other day.
Shirtless.
He had boots on the ground reporting live, shirtless Scoot Henderson in his afro doing some sprints. So that got us a little encouraged. Now he's cleared for contact. And it's one of the biggest questions I have the rest of the way of what are the fall-off decisions of Scoot coming back in terms of who stays, who goes, what's the roster spot situation look like? And then
he was starting when he
yes. Do you get anything from him? Does he have a good year? Does he struggle? What's the limits, restrictions? There's just a lot of questions that come with this, but for the first time, at least in a long time, it feels like a bit of a positive news update that Scoot Henderson is not being held back or, having to take a step back. He is heading in the right direction.
I think because of the nature of the injury, I'm kind of sitting in a Bummer Brandon spot.
Are you?
I kind of need to see it before I fully go on. It's not that the reporting isn't accurate. Highkin doesn't do that. It's not that the team isn't being honest saying, hey, he's got some contact going on here. It's like, it's obviously such a tough injury to come back from that I'm like mentally preparing for the email setback.
Yeah.
And I hope that doesn't
happening
happen,
before he comes back would be super
it'd be
depressing.
devastating because we need to see him. The franchise needs to see him. Everybody can yell at each other about what his ceiling is. Is he a bust? Is he this? Is he that?
Right.
I kind of just have questions in general of like, what's it going to look like when he does return? What are his minutes? How restricted is he going to be? Is he going to trust it? Like, I know these guys go through so much ramp-up time. They go through massages and exercise. But, like, when you actually get into the game speed, it's hard to duplicate that off the court.
Yes, it is.
Is he going to fully trust it and be back to what he was? Because, he'd show us some really good things. He had a nice run last year and then didn't necessarily end on that same high, but still enough where we went, hey, maybe next year, third year, point guard's a tough position to figure out in the league.
Takes a while to get there.
Yeah, maybe he takes that step. And then to find out that injury happened during camp and now this setback is going all the way into February, I don't know. I hate that I'm having negative thoughts about it, but like I really just want to see him out there overall.
Yeah,
and I don't know how it's going to fit either.
No, that's a big question right now.
The thing about Denny, I know we're talking about Scoot, but like I think about this with Denny. By the way, playing Scoot off ball, just saying that as if it's so nonchalant and easy.
As if it's a fit and that's the way he should be playing.
First of all, we don't have evidence
he's
not a great shooter. So, like, what does that even mean off ball? He's going to catch in the corner and then what, drive?
Right.
Okay. But, like, even when Dame comes back, how is Denny's role going to change? Or is it not going to change at all? So then what does that look like? You have Scoot and Dame off ball? You have one guy who can't shoot over 35% from three, and you got another guy that his whole career, he's not playing off ball.
Right.
So
and there's not a huge defensive impact when you're out there. The primary angle of having him on the floor is that he's a dynamic guy with the ball in his hands.
Yes, he cannot play defense.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So
it's a question of what are you willing to sacrifice in terms of, is it we need to capitalize and maximize Scoot in his performance? I just use this year as an example, right? Dame, I think, is a massive question for next year and how that fits.
Right.
For this year, let's just use Scoot as the example because he'll be back sooner than Damian Lillard will. Is the bigger deal putting Scoot in a position to succeed and telling Denny, can you evolve and adapt around this? Because he's not a terrible shooter. I don't know how he is as a spot-up guy. He certainly is better with the ball in his hands than he is without the ball in his hands.
I'll look up his numbers.
Yeah, I'll be curious what they are because I don't know them off the top of my head. But I think I'd feel more comfortable asking Denny to be uncomfortable, if that makes sense, than I would trying to make Scoot do something that I just don't know how that that just doesn't compute in my head of him
Denny
being alone.
can be off ball.
He's played off ball in his career.
And
I'm not saying Scoot never has. He's obviously been an off ball guy at times. He played with Anthony Simons, who was always a ball dominant guard at the same time. So Scoot's also done it. I just don't think you're maximizing his potential by asking him to do that, and it's just going to make for an interesting fit the rest of the way. And then you're also, adding in the concept of like how many games do you have to go with minutes restrictions until you're feeling comfortable letting him to actually go out and fully unleash everything? Because if we're going to be super cautious with a lot of injuries, I'd imagine hamstrings are near the top of that list. And so how many minutes is he even playing in your head when he comes back and plays? 15 minutes, right? Like,
they're going to be a
burst here, burst there. It'd be
a
very slow ramp up. And so even if he's back on the floor, back at practice or contact and all that, you're still a long ways away from him being fully cleared and able to go. And it's wild because we're almost in February. And if I would have told people at the start of the year that's how the injury was going to transpire, it would have been pretty depressing to think about.
So in the all 3-point category, Scoot, and this is what we can go off of, right? All we have is what the numbers say. 38th percentile in all three.
Okay.
45 percentile non-corner three. Corner three. So when you think of a guy off ball, you're either wing or corner, right?
That's where you're standing. That's where you're hanging.
6%. 49 percentile.
Not good.
He's just not.
Yeah, it's not his strength.
And some of this stuff is off the dribble, but I'm thinking about what it would look like. And look, if you are to take what Danny says, for example, what are you prioritizing? I think he has said it, they don't care. So it's Denny probably dominating the basketball.
I mean, he's the better player. He's the guy with the higher ceiling right now, so I certainly understand.
But the hard thing with the mindset there, it's not that that's an accurate reflection of the franchise by Meringue. It's more to me, I think about that when I hear it and I say, you can't, I mean, maybe you can, but I just can't imagine that's your thought about your third overall pick. Who cares? Yeah. Denny's obviously going to be your all-star
third year in the
NBA.
NBA. You're not in year 7 where it's like, all right, we got to give up on it. You're in year 3.
If that's
He's only played 2 years in the NBA.
Right, but if that's the mentality, if that's truly the reflection of the mentality of the franchise, you're kind of telling me as a fan, you don't care, and he's a bust to you.
And if that is the mentality of the organization, I would say, why are you let's make a move then. If that's the way you truly feel internally about him.
Well, maybe they will once he's healthy.
They very well could. He comes back and plays, and you move him in the offseason. We'll see what the future holds.
They just have a lot of question marks with them, which is why they get brought up in the trade with Giannis because of the picks. But it's why people, as annoying as trade stuff can be, it's why people do bring up trade stuff. It's like, the roster's a little weird.
Well, especially when you project in next year with Lillard back, because then you have Drew. If there are no major trades for Drew, Dame's not going to get traded. Shaden, we went over the other day with the poison pill, can't get traded. And
not until July 1st.
Right, and why would you take on Scoot right now in a trade? Because he's coming off a hamstring injury, and maybe you're willing to take a flyer on a guy.
But you're buying low on that.
But you're buying super low, right? And so I don't know if that's the point that the Blazers want to sell. So then you're living in a world where next year you have Drew, Dame, Shaden, and Scoot, which is almost the backcourt that you would have dreamed about having in 2017, and then the backcourt that you were excited about 2 years ago is the future. Now one is going to be the starting backcourt, and the other ones, they're both coming off the bench when they could respectively be going into their 4th and 5th seasons in the NBA.
Yeah.
One of them with a contract extension. So I think to add to the question, the fit. There's a lot of puzzle pieces that still need to be put together. I'm certainly excited about the opportunity to watch him play and to see what he can bring the rest of the way. Again, it's going to be a slow ramp up, but just the fact that at least we're got one bit of good news of hey, contact. All right.
Well, it seems like every 3-4 weeks we're getting that email now.
It's all right, here we go.
Is there any level of, what's the expectation for him to coming back? I think that's the hard thing to gauge,
we carry that over. Where are Blazer fans at on that? He's just been a missing piece for this team, and a guy who I know early in the year, and especially throughout the course of all their guards and guys getting banged up, all of the responsibility offensively falling on Denny's shoulders. Man, it'd be nice to have Scoot out there driving to the hoop, creating looks for other people. You just don't have a lot of other guys that can run an offense. And we could debate how level of how high of a level can he run an offense at?
Mm.
He certainly is capable of doing that better than some other people who have been asked to do it on the roster. So we'll carry this over a little bit. Blazers back in action tonight. Scoot cleared for contact, one step closer to returning, hopefully, to the court